Hi friends, today I'm going to share with you some ideas and activities of things that you can do in your classroom to make learning fun and hands-on using the fall and Halloween themes. This was a really easy bulletin board to make. All the kids needed to do was paint their pumpkins, and then I cut a slit through the door and put their pictures behind them. The kids loved trying to guess and figure out who was hiding behind each pumpkin. For this activity, the kids made spiders using marshmallow cookies, pretzels, and M&Ms. And because there was marshmallows in between, it made it really easy for the kids to stick on their pretzels. And they loved eating these. They also made these really cute wizard hats. Here we listened to a song about mummies, and then the kids each took turns wrapping each other in toilet paper, and we had toilet paper everywhere in the classroom. The kids absolutely loved wrapping each other up and being mummies. We also used toilet paper to make little ghosts. I believe this is one that most people already know how to do, but it's a great way to keep them from eating those lollipops at school. So we just covered them with tissue paper and put some rubber bands around their necks, and then the kids drew in their eyes and mouth. Also during the month of October, we learned about pumpkins and the life cycle of pumpkins. Here they're doing an activity where they would be coloring and cutting out and putting in order the life cycle of a pumpkin. And once they were finished, we decorated it by hanging them up and displaying them on a tree branch. And I think that looks so cute. And it gave the classroom a fall-themed atmosphere. This was a good way to practice fine motor skills. The kids painted 2 paper plates orange, and then I punched holes around them. So all the kids needed to do was thread yarn around it. This was one of my favorite activities because it turned out really cute. I believe anytime you give kids the freedom to do something on their own, they will surprise you and amaze you. They are so beyond capable. What I did for this activity was, first I had all the kids sit down and I demonstrated how to draw a pumpkin. And when I demonstrate, I like to draw things based on simple shapes, so it helps simplify things for them. Otherwise you will hear kids saying, "Oh, I don't know how to draw it. Can you draw my pumpkin for me?" So I showed them how to make the pumpkin by drawing a big oval, and then I drew the stem as a rectangle, and then I showed them how to draw lines to make it resemble a pumpkin. Some kids drew the lines, other kids didn't. And then I just put out the supplies for them, and you can see their pumpkins all look very unique, creative, and just absolutely adorable. And we had to take a picture. It's not Halloween, it's not October unless you are carving into a pumpkin. We carved pumpkins. We did a sink and float science experiment. I don't have a picture of that one. I couldn't find that one on my phone. But they definitely got to explore the ins and outs of the pumpkins. They also painted their pumpkins. We used pipettes to paint their pumpkins, which is another good way to build fine motor skills. I recommend, if you are going to use this method to paint your pumpkin, that you water down the paint a little bit more, otherwise it makes it really hard for the paint to come out. This was an activity I believe I got from Teachers Pay Teachers. So I just printed these out and laminated them for durability and added some pumpkin seeds. All the kids need to do is pick out a number from the bin and demonstrate that number using the pumpkin seeds. This is a great way to differentiate instruction. While one kid is working on number 7, you can have another one working on 71, just to be able to provide that challenge where needed. We also used pumpkin seeds as counters. Here the kids were rolling the dice and recording the numbers that they got, and then using the pumpkin seeds to count and add how many there are altogether. We also used the leaves to make leaf prints, and then we cut them out and turned it into a wreath. You can also use the leaves to make bookmarks. If you don't have the sticky laminating sheet, you can also use clear packaging tape. As long as the leaves are smaller than the width of the packaging tape, you're okay. This activity was a big mess, but the kids absolutely loved this activity. The purpose of this activity, again, was to build fine motor skills. And we incorporated math in here by asking the students to fill their cups with leaves, and they had to all guess how many cups of leaves would it take to fill a larger container that you don't see in the picture here. Here are 2 of the many books that we read during the month of October. These are the 2 that were photographed: Let It Fall and Leaf Hunt. We also read Book Who Spooky Lift a Flap book. I love Lift a Flap books. I think it just helps the kids stay a little bit more focused and engaged, and they love seeing what's under each flap. We read Clifford, Glow in the Dark Halloween, the best Halloween hunt ever. We read The Pumpkin Patch. I keep them inside a little binder like this. We read The Pumpkin Patch, The Littlest Pumpkin, Skeleton Bones and Goblin Groans, The Pumpkin That Kim Carved, and The Biggest Pumpkin Ever. Those were just some of the books that we read that I still have with me. Another book that we read was The Leaf Man. The kids made Leaf Man, and they turned out really cute and creative. They were just adorable. And then we learned about different trees and how different trees have different shaped leaves. And the kids practiced sorting them out, using them to count, practicing patterns. Here's another example of the students working on patterns. The kids got to manipulate puzzles with different type of leaves. This is one of my favorite things about teaching kindergarten and the primary grades is the ability and the option, if you have it, to be able to transform your classroom and that like ooh, ah effect when the kids come inside. Here my husband made this really cute little teepee for the kids, and he built these small stools, and we made it look like they're sitting around the fire, and there's some fish in the background here for them to go fishing. And here you can see them going fishing. This is actually a literacy activity where after they catch the fish with the little magnet hooks, they have to read the sight words behind them, and if they can read them, they can maybe turn around and cook them on the fire. So this was a really fun way to incorporate reading and learning through play. This is a sensory bin that we did with corn and different kinds of pumpkins. Later, if they want, they can use those kernels to make an art project, as one of my students did here. This activity was a huge hit. All you need is a gutter that you can get at Home Depot, cut it in half, and use it as ramps. We put apples on a tray, and the kids manipulated the ramps by pulling them up higher and lower, and they got to learn about gravity, about speed, force, and it was such a huge hit. We got a good use out of these apples. We also used them to try to balance them on our heads. This is great for a gross motor activity. And last, we tried to see how many apples you can stack on top of each other, which goes along great with Dr. Seuss's book. I believe it's called Apples on Top. I can't remember exactly. We also did a fall bingo game, and bingo games are great, especially for building vocabulary skills. You would be really surprised at how many of these words that children don't know, and it's a great way to expose them to new vocabulary. This was another activity I got from Teachers Pay Teachers, just printed, cut, and laminate. So for this activity, kids pull out a card from the bin, count the number of objects that are on each card, and then use a clothespin to clip on the correct answer. This is a poem that was shared to me by another teacher, and I absolutely love this poem because it is very predictable. It repeats the words leaves on the many times. And I wrote the words that don't repeat on a different color so they can pay special attention to those words. And then always you want to put pictures next to the words whenever possible so the kids can read them easier. Because at this point, they are generally not able to read the words on their own. Leaves on the pumpkin, leaves on the tree, leaves on the house, leaves on me. And then they would take turns taking the pointer and coming up and pointing and reading the words. And I would ask them, do you want to read it by yourself or do you want to read it with your friends? And depending on how comfortable they feel about reading the poem, they will say with my friends or by myself. And if they say with my friends, we would read it as a class together. And if they say, of course, by myself, we would all listen to the student reading it on their own. So I know worksheets are not desired, and hands-on learning and activities are what quality education is all about. However, that being said, there's definitely room for pencil and paper kind of activities. Here they are working on a color by word pumpkin, which includes reading, writing, and coloring. And this little cutie here you see is coloring a leaf that's yellow, and it helps to build recognition for coloring sight words. To help scaffold for this activity for the kids that don't know their color words yet, you can put on the middle of the table, which you don't see in the picture here, are the words with the corresponding colors on top of them. And that concludes some of the many activities that I've done inside my classroom. I hope you found something in this video that was helpful for you. This channel is all about supporting students, teachers, and learners of all kinds. Join my mission, click the subscribe button, and help support education one video at a time. Till next time, happy teaching!